May 16th, 2022. I'm just in the process of repairing both our bicycles. They need some major maintenance. Obviously I have both tires off. We are replacing the brake pads in both the front and back. And so we're doing that. We're going to be breaking the chain and putting on brand new chains. So both front and back calipers with new brake pads, the chains. As you can see there probably on the video, there are extra spokes. Somehow over the winter, one of my spokes broke on the front tire, even though I checked them in the fall and nothing was broken. That's my rear tire, and of course we got some extra spokes so that in the event we're on the road and we break a spoke, they're there and we can replace it and get to the next community that has a repair shop. I'm going to take all the parts outside and show you the parts that we'll be replacing on our bikes this year. Here are the new parts for our maintenance this spring. I have the old brake pads right here. They are certainly worn out. I'll keep them in case I can use them again. There's some material left on there to stop the bike, but I got brand new brake pads, brand new chain, both for Josh's bike and my bike. And I got Josh's front brake pads and his rear brake pads. His are actually better than mine. His can definitely be reused. And then I also got a triple spoke wrench for your spokes. And that's going to come in handy to tighten and true the wheels up, and also a chain breaker so that we can fit our chains on and use that in the field if we need to replace a chain link or repair the chain when we're on a bike ride. I do have an older chain breaker, but this new one is heavy duty, and we'll be taking that on our trip. So that's all the bike maintenance that we're going to do. Replace both chains, both the front and rear disc brake pads, and replace one spoke on that wheel and store the other spokes for the other wheels and do a basic clean and check and reset the derailleurs and the brakes as well. That's pretty much it, and then we're ready to go. These are the new brake pads that we have for Josh's front brakes. Those are the exact same brake pads that I have for my front and rear brakes. And you can see we got two new pads, and also the spring and the cotter pin. And we'll show you how we install that. Make sure you keep these pads in the shot. So you take the spring and it goes there, and then the pad sits down there, seats down there on the spring. And then that, I just sandwich those together. I put those through into the caliper, and then the cotter pin goes in. So I'll show you how that works. So these new brake pads are going to go right into the caliper. We may have to push the piston back, but we'll see how these go. Sometimes they're a bit tricky. Nope, they actually went in pretty good. And then on this side, this is where the cotter pin goes in. right in here, just wiggle it through all the way. She doesn't want to go all the way through. I'm going to get my needle nose pliers. I don't have enough length there. It's interesting. This is the brand new cotter pin. That's why you never throw your old ones away. Let's see if there's a longer one they gave us. They gave us different styles of cotter pins. Some of the styles of the cotter pins have a larger head, and that's the one I was using. This one has a smaller head plus a longer shaft. So this one should be the one that goes right through the caliper, or the, yep. So here on this side, we have our needle nose pliers. It goes all the way through, and we just take it and we bend the cotter pin in one direction and another direction so that it cannot go through. And that's how you install the front brakes. That, I believe, is a hydraulic brake, where the rear brake is a cable brake.
Yeah, my front's hydraulic.
Even though it is pads. So my Rocky Mountain bike has both the hydraulic front and rear brakes. Same pads, same method. Little rubbing. I might have to do a few adjustments. Look pretty good. So that's it for the front. Now we're going to go on to the rear. So we were in the process of getting everything ready for our bike ride for this summer. I literally took Josh's brake pads off. You tell me when.
Yes.
Okay? And I got replacements for the rear. I had the numbers on the old pads. I took them off so that we wouldn't get confused. Because I was in such a rush for time, I did not check on the back of the package indicating that they are metal brake pads. And if you look on the disc of my bicycle, or Josh's bicycle, it can only have resin pads. So now I'm out the, well, I can't repair the bike now. So I can't replace these pads with these pads because these are metal and the original are resin. Can't have that on that disc. The other problem I have is that I had asked to get extra spokes, and I guess in terms of their measuring, it was on this side, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they measured and, oh, oopsies, they broke a spoke. And unfortunately, I do not have the tool, I think it's called the chain whip, to take off the cassette. There is a little tool that I have on order that goes onto here, and you wedge it into the frame and you can take it off. I still need that tool. I cannot get the cassette off, and I cannot replace that spoke until that happens. So now I'm out that problem as well. Oh, it's not easy. It's never easy. So I was able to use this new spoke tool to true my wheels. They're actually pretty good. I think we're going to maybe true Josh's wheels. So if you come over here, we just replaced his front brake pads, and it's actually pretty good. I don't think it's needing to be trued. So I've kind of went over the tightness of all the spokes. They're pretty good. I didn't notice any loose spokes at all, but it's actually pretty good. So I'll look at his rear wheel and maybe true it up. Mine is ready to go pretty much, except for one thing. But before we get to that one thing, I also want to mention we did get new spokes. So I got extra spokes in the event that we break a spoke on the road and we have extra spokes. I'm going to have to find some kind of firm tube to place our spokes in so that we can put those in our panniers and they don't get bent and keep safe. So that's one thing I'm going to look at. I got Josh his extra spokes here. I do need to replace a spoke, and then finally I got 2 brand new chains, the SRAM chains. So I'm going to break the chains here on our bikes and replace those tonight. I still need to replace the back brakes and the spoke on Josh's bike. All right. I just wanted to show you what we stored our extra spokes in. Here you can see a tube, a metal tube for my spokes and a metal tube for Josh's spokes. I just got a metal tube from the junkyard and cut it to length with a hacksaw and put electrical tape on the top and the bottom. I reinforced the bottom more than the top, and of course I added a label when you open here. We never ended up using any extra spokes on our bike ride, but they're stored in these metal tubes and we put them in our bags with all our maintenance gear. Obviously, this didn't go the way we expected it to. See that little piece? It broke off from the chain breaker. $60 for a chain breaker, and the very first time we used it, that little piece broke. I mean, I didn't even have pressure on the thing. I don't know what to say. I'm pretty disappointed in a $60 tool. Imagine if we were out in the field,
Yeah.
and we had to break a chain and do this. We would be really up the creek. Well, that's going back. Okay, over and out.